it feels almost like you have to be more involved than you should be, even though you might, and you should have a scope in your contracts, but there's always this, am I doing enough? Is are my clients going to be happy? So how do you catch yourself in over delivering, and how does that look like?
Yes, the first step is to have a good scope that is not just talked about, it's also written down so that if you need to go out of scope, that's fine. And going above and beyond is admirable, but you should also be compensated for that. So that's where we fall down. And I think part of that is fear, because if I have to go back to my client to say this is not in scope, or I'm happy to work on this project and let's talk about it so I can give you a proposal, it feels scary because they can object. They can say, oh no, I thought this was included in the scope. You promised you were going to do this. None of that may happen, but we start to get the head trash where we feel afraid that it's going to turn into a conflict. And so because of that, we don't want to take a chance on damaging the relationship with our client. So we figure, oh, it's not that big a deal. I'll just take care of this and I won't worry about charging extra, and they'll really appreciate it. But the truth is, they don't even know about it because most of the time we just over deliver and we don't even say anything. And so your client can't appreciate it. You're not compensated for it, and you've changed the expectation. So now they may expect you to continue doing that extra work with no compensation because they don't know the difference. You did it before. Why wouldn't you do it now? So it really is a slippery slope. And if you have a really well crafted scope of the work you're doing and it's written and you can refer back to it, then it's not personal, it's structural, right? And everything, even when your client asks you a question, you may take that personally, like they're questioning your experience or you need to prove yourself. That's not what your client is doing. They're just asking a question. So if you can shift from taking things personally and use the structure of whatever you've produced, then there's nothing personal about it. And you can refer back to that structure and you can say, I'd be happy to work on this additional project or whatever they're asking for. Let's talk about priorities. What's the most important thing for you? And if this is a priority, I'm happy to give you an additional proposal. And they're going to be fine with that because they trust you. They like working with you. That's why they keep asking for things. So that's all very positive if you can keep your fear in check and not let your mind kind of go crazy from the standpoint of anxiety and fear and worrying that it's going to turn into some kind of conflict.